Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Crossover. Starring Josh Johnson and Chris McGill. Featuring Christina Thorson. And of course, you, the Instagram live chat. Now, sit back and enjoy this week's edition of The Crossover. Powered by Card Ladder.
All right. We had a... Oh, yeah. Are we going to talk about facial hair in the hobby? Okay, so there has been a movement among some people in the hobby growing facial hair. And on purpose, whereas me, it's just due to laziness.
I feel like you haven't shaved since I last saw you.
That's probably true. It's probably true. It's probably true. All right. Yeah.
Fair though, it was only like 2.5 weeks ago.
Only.
I haven't gotten a haircut in 2.5 weeks. Is Josh?
Okay. All right. Moving on. New topic here.
Is there like a ceiling fan?
Yeah. Is there like the light is like bouncing on my face because it's this TV that I'm using or my monitor, but I need the monitor to be able to read the questions. So it's gonna be very annoying for people who just like see a pulsing light on my forehead.
We're back to the ceiling.
I don't know what I can do about this.
I miss the ceiling tile. On all the signs, man. This is great.
All the signs. The how old are these? Maybe like a few years.
Oh gosh, these are I think from the first mint.
All right.
It says 30 more miles.
Yeah, like these are like all super old.
Mm-hmm.
Seizure warning episode. Okay. All right. Apologies in advance to any seizures that happen. Okay. Let's welcome everybody to the crossover. Today is Friday, February 16th. And do we have any card letter related announcements? That's what we start with usually. No.
So
No,
I don't think so.
All right.
we don't even know. Like we both said, I don't think so.
Stuff does happen, but
Yeah, but I don't think there's anything to report at this time.
no. Okay.
No. It's been a long week.
All quiet on that front. And then mail days. Do you have any mail days?
Nope, nothing.
I have a mail day to make a lot of people laugh.
This is a live reveal. You haven't shown it yet, right?
I have not. No, yeah, this is a live reveal. All right, and let me set it up a little bit too before I show it. I bought this on Wednesday. Okay, and it's gonna make a big hypocrite out of me. That's why I have to say that first. I made a decision this week. I had a change of heart on something. All right, this is the mail day.
That's Sam Darnold?
That is Sam Darnold's backup. This guy is going to be competing with Sam Darnold for a starting spot next year. All right. Well, for those who can't see but are listening, it is a Brock Purdy Prism Rookie Year Gold out of 10 PSA 10. And I have to explain myself here because I told people many times that I would not buy any Brock Purdy cards until like year 6 or 7 or something like that. And then here I go buying one. So I just want to say that Super Bowl kind of left me feeling like a 49ers fan because I was definitely rooting for them. And I don't know, I just wanted to I wanted to be a part of collecting the best player on the team that I'm rooting for. So I did that, and yeah, it was ain't FOMO. It was a bit of FOMO, or if we want to put it euphemistically, conviction or something. Definitely a risky card. Not advise anybody to buy Brock Purdy cards. If somebody asked me today, I would say do not. I would say do not touch them.
You remember how last year it was like big hype train on like Kenny Pickett and Herbert, some of the other guys? Purdy will probably have a bit of that going into next season.
Yeah, that'll be very annoying. We have a question about that too.
Most guys are like, yes, it's got to sell. And you're like, ugh, annoying. I hate that.
Be unbearable. Okay. After the Super Bowl, Mo. Okay. Let's get into some questions here. We like to warm up first, then we get into the heavy hitters. Prison Mike PC says, how many scheduled Fridays do you have to miss from work in a year before you get a letter from Human Resources stating that you are chronically unavailable for work? Good to have the crossover back.
Well, I've got a legit answer for this.
Go.
So the NBA rule is you got to play 65 games to be eligible for the awards, and that's out of 82. So 65 divided by 82, we'll convert that down to 52 weeks. So that's what, like 40? So I think we can miss 12.
We'll definitely make it. I think we'll make 40.
79%.
Yeah. So what's 79% times 52? I think we're definitely going to make it.
41.
41. 41. There we go.
All right, we've probably missed 2 so far. Oh, we're fine.
Yeah. It just makes us want to miss them more when you guys say that. We've missed 1 so far this year, right? We can miss an average of 1 a month and still be eligible for All NBA.
We're fine. We're like Kawhi Leonard this year. We're gonna play. We might miss a few games here and there, but we're playing.
All right. Few questions about the NFL. Bruin Killer says, now that the NFL season is over, what do we do?
Basketball. We're right in the middle of All-Star weekend, and then we're going to get into the second half of the NBA season. Teams are going to start separating themselves a bit. We'll see some of the bottom teams fall down more. We'll see the better teams separate, and then playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. We shift to the NBA. Shift to the NBA.
How do you feel about trading Sal for Ryan Russillo?
Oh, I'm fine with it. But I like both in their respective roles. You know, I like Sal for the common man's approach on football, and I like Russillo for the tales from the couch, over analyzing everything, which is how I prefer my NBA.
There you go.
Most of Russillo's podcast content is like, when I grew up on the island, like, it's like half of it is actual sports, and then the other half is like tales from Massachusetts, like elitist islands.
She only imbibes Russillo content indirectly from me, and she's still sniffed that up.
Have you seen his video? His video feed?
No.
He lives in Manhattan Beach, so his background is like the ocean. So it's like, woohoo, fancy guy here. Look at this.
Yeah, that's when he first moved there. He was talking about it a lot more, about like the night scene and Manhattan Beach.
I've always liked Russillo, though. He was always one of my favorites from back in the ESPN days with Van Pelt.
Yeah, he's way above average. I'll listen to Russillo. Okay. Kosachi Golf 1 would like to know, will Mahomes' prices go up after a three-peat? So not the 2-peat.
Oh,
we're not, after a 3-peat if the Chiefs win again next year.
I think it'll be a decent build-up towards the 3-peat, given that like we're already starting to see some trends of the market going up a bit right now. In general, I do think we'll see a creep up during as the season progresses for Mahomes of like, holy crap. He's got 2 in a row. He's got 3 overall. The stats will start to sink in with people. The excitement of next season will build up. I feel like we always see these prices kind of build up more leading up to the thing versus the thing. So especially with Mahomes, given that he's already won so much, like it's usually this gradual build with him.
Yeah, dude, totally. Also, like Mahomes was counted out this year. Almost the whole year because and in fairness, like, you know, they were the underdog in 3 of their 4 playoff matches. Like the numbers,
right.
Yeah, the numbers just weren't that strong, and which is a testament to what they accomplished this year. But it's also, I think, like unless they really upgrade the receiver room in Kansas City, I think people are going to resist hyping them up again. People are going to be skeptical of them again. If they go like 11-6 again or something, like I don't know how much hype there's going to be.
They're already plus 650 next year, and the Niners are plus 450. They're already. And I saw some ESPN article that was like, like different writers picking the Super Bowl for next year. I think I saw like one person pick the Chiefs. It was like Bills and Niners. I saw a couple Packers and Lions in there. I was like, geez.
That's great. Already counting them out again. Okay. And one more here from Tiger Jordan 311. Will the young quarterback hype this offseason be the same as last year? Like to your point about Pickett and Desmond Ridder and everything.
Well, I think maybe the question is like, is there anyone good enough that's on the horizon that we'll see it for? And it's like people were hyping up Desmond Ridder. So yes, there will be someone better than Desmond Ridder. I mean, it's going to be CJ Stroud, obviously a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He should have more cards by the time next year rolls around, right? And there'll probably be some Bryce Young love, like like the Trevor Lawrence bad first year with the coach. We're switching regimes. Like there might be some hype on Bryce Young, but there won't be any cards of the main rookies, which is a bummer because this rookie quarterback class is insane.
It is insane. Yeah. Yep. There's going to be that'll be the hype for the following offseason.
Yeah.
Herbert is a guy whose card letter index is up 30% over the last month. And there's going to be so much Jim Harbaugh, Herbert. By the time it's the National, every other table is going to tell you about how Jim Harbaugh is going to, revolutionize the Chargers offense. So.
I'm going to have a really hard time. I'm never going to buy his cards. It doesn't make any sense. But even I'm going to have a hard time not getting.
Are you excited for Harbaugh?
Not as much as most people. I mean, Brandon Staley was like truly awful, so it's a massive upgrade. But like every time I listen to Harbaugh speak, I'm like, I don't know, he's just a guy, and I'm not, he's not like the savior of football. He's just a good coach. Yeah.
All right. Any like sleeper QBs that might be like a fun, like if you could predict the silliest hyped QB that we're gonna see this offseason, who do you think it is? Like, will there maybe like I guess Aaron Rodgers is coming back, so they can't hype up Zach Wilson.
Like Anthony Richardson will get a lot of hype. I'm trying to think of the third year guys because I feel like last year was a lot of like third year guys. You know what I mean? Because they had more like that extra year of established cards and there's like this sense that they were forgotten a bit. So like some of the influencers were trying to buy low on some of them. So I don't know if you could pull up like the third year players list, maybe that would be helpful. Aiden O'Connell, jeez. Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is a good one.
Yeah, Kyler. Aiden O'Connell is just straight up. So are you talking about like the Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence draft class or the one after that?
The one after that.
All right.
Well, Trevor Lawrence, I guess, might have some, but I don't know. People are probably starting to get tired of the Trevor Lawrence thing.
Yeah. Yep. Somebody put Jordan Love in the chat. I don't think that wouldn't be silly though. I think he was really good.
The one. Jordan Love is the number one, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And that there's some substance behind thinking he's going to be good, but it's such a long haul to get to the Super Bowl, especially like with all.
What about like the Kirk Cousins or Jared Goffs of the world? It's too late on those guys. They're too old. Nobody cares. Some of those teams might have some hype. Like Cousins might move teams.
Absolutely.
Goff will, the Lions will have a lot of love going into next season. The Packers obviously are gonna. Jordan Love is probably the number one choice because he had such a strong finish.
Yeah. Okay. So here's
Justin Fields.
Fields is part of the 21 class. Here's the 22 class, guys. Sam Howell, Bailey Zappi, Malik Willis, Ridder, Kenny Pickett, Purdy. That's about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be Purdy and Love probably are honestly like the top two guys.
Yeah. All right. Now pivoting to NBA. Stedman Scotty says, can we talk about the NBA All-Star Weekend awards? How about Sabrina versus Curry? I think LeBron will win the All-Star Game MVP. Thoughts?
When's the Curry Ionescu
I don't know. Do they
match?
put the 3-point thing on Saturday night, or do they do it the same day? I think it's Saturday night.
I think Saturday is skills, and I'm not sure though.
Yeah, I think it's Saturday night.
So are they shooting from NBA 3, or is she going to shoot from WNBA and he's going to shoot from NBA?
She said she's shooting from the NBA line.
Woohoo!
Yeah, that's scary for Steph Curry.
Yeah, that's a lose-lose for him. He's going to have to win that one.
He's gonna have to win that one.
I have a prediction. Am I gonna have to come over here?
Well, it depends on how long it is.
He has to win by 1 because then, and he should go second and stop after he wins by 1 because then he will have beaten the girl, but he won't have dominated her to the point where he made it look really bad. So like that's what this is how you get out of it. You have to beat her by 1 and then be like, oh, I won. Let's just wrap it now.
I don't think he's gonna dominate her if you tried. Like, I think she's gonna be good, right? Because women shoot, dude.
In her last 3-point contest, I think she made 25 of 27. I don't think anybody's ever been that accurate in a 3-point contest in any of the leagues.
I was gonna say the
WNBA line.
Yeah, but I mean, the gap between the men and the women is not 3-point shooting. Just like pure 3-point shooting, especially with nobody in front of you, stand still, wide open. That's not going to be, this big gap between men and women. It's more of like the physical part of the game,
Yeah. Yeah, and even like when Caitlin Clark broke that record by like launching from the logo, she's nuts.
Dude, she's hitting like fall away, sidestep threes and stuff. Like, those are tough shots for anyone.
People like are speculating if she's going to be good or not, like right away in the WNBA. She's going to cook as soon as she gets to the WNBA.
There was a run where like the number 1 pick in the WNBA every year would like win the MVP. It was like Candace Parker and Maya Moore, because like you said, like first of all, a lot of them play 3 and 4 years in college, so they come in ready to go. But they just like the level of play for some of those women in the WNBA just like keeps raising. So like whoever's the best out of college comes in and just plays well right away. She's gonna dude. Did you watch the highlights of the game? Like I don't get hyped up about women's basketball, but dude, she was fucking on fire. She had 49 points. So she like knew this is the game everyone's watching. The arena was sold out. She needed 8 points. She hit the one to pass from the logo and then scored her career high.
That's nuts. Okay, so she averages 34 minutes a game this year. 34, that's a lot. Her raw numbers are 33 points a game, 7 rebounds a game, and 9 assists per game. That's just crazy.
Dude, her shots are tough. Like it's not like she's just getting all layups. Like she's hitting tough threes.
Yeah.
All
right.
I'm more excited to watch her in the March Madness than the men's tournament.
Yeah, fair. That's coming up, man. That's really coming up, too.
Wouldn't you rather watch her than any of the men's tournament?
Yeah. She's the best storyline going in collegiate basketball right now, for sure.
Did you name a single men's college basketball player?
Oh, man. Bronny James.
Other than Bronny James, who, by the way, is not having a good season.
Does he even count? Like, I don't even think he starts.
I have not watched a single college basketball game this year, I can tell you that.
Men's college basketball.
Yes. I haven't watched women's either. I just watched the highlights.
Yeah, that counts. I didn't watch that game either. I didn't know it was on until after, but I did watch the highlights. I was entertained.
Yeah. All right. Tiger Jordan 311 says Panini is the lead sponsor for the Rising Stars game. I did notice that. Yeah.
I did see that.
What is the point if they're losing their license?
I mean, what's the point of Joe Biden even trying to be president if he's just going to be leaving? You still got to try.
Yeah, you still got to try. That's great. It's a great point. You got to try.
It's like 2 years. It's not like it's tomorrow.
Right. And it's probably contractual. They probably had like a long-term deal.
Yeah.
probably runs for the duration of the license. So
I thought it was cool. Like, hey, I know that logo. That's Cards. Let's go.
yeah, it was cool. Yeah, it was.
Because it makes sense. Like, it makes sense, you know? The younger players, the rookie cards, like, it makes sense. Like, it's a good fit, I think.
For sure. All right. Panini is the Joe Biden of the card hobby.
Better than sponsoring the celebrity game. That game was. Did you watch that? I watched some of it, like the LED court. Did you see that?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Chris
Dude, it was
watching
annoying.
I had to leave the room because I was like, I can't.
I wasn't focusing on it. I just had it on my phone.
You know who's good, though? Puka Nakua is good at basketball.
Yeah,
like, legit good.
He was dunking and flying all over the place.
Parsons was good because he's big, but Puka Nakua was, like, actually good at basketball.
Yeah, like Stroud's shot wasn't falling, but you could tell he could play.
He's got some. Well, he was posting his videos of him beating Jaime Jaquez in high school, but he's on like an interview tour right now, and he's really feeling himself going into next year.
Yes, he is. A lot of people are really high on him too.
He's still got to
All right.
through. He's still got to go through Burrow and Mahomes and Lamar.
He's got to go through Burrow and Lamar in his own
I know.
division.
I wouldn't get too excited, buddy. Oh, Stroud? No, he's not. That's Stroud.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just as soon as I said it, I went to go look it up and see. Oh no, okay, he's got to go through T-Law, Minshew / Richardson, and whoever's going to be okay. He should win his team. Yeah. And then whoever the Titans are going to trot out there, maybe Levis.
He would have had to go through. He didn't get through Lamar, but he would have had to go through Lamar, then like Mahomes, Josh Allen. It's like, dude,
yep.
It's cool that you're young and exciting, and everyone's going to be buying your cards, but it's still a gauntlet.
Yeah, the AFC is going to be awful for anybody. And then those are the great offenses. Then the Browns are probably going to have it. They have the reigning DPOY. They're going to be impossible. The Steelers are going to be impossible. That's going to be really.
AFC and Harbaugh, the Chargers are basically going to be undefeated. So.
Yeah, don't forget about.
Plus, you have.
Don't forget about the Chargers.
Plus, the AFC. I would rather be in the NFC.
Oh yeah, yes.
It's like that's the NFC is like the Eastern Conference for basketball.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. All right, and finally here from the Bouvier, we couldn't. We had to get this question right. What effect, if any, will All-Star Weekend have on cards?
Sabrina Ionescu to the moon. Yes. That's the effect coming out of this weekend.
Okay.
I think that's right. It doesn't. Nobody else matters except for Ionescu.
Yeah, I think if somebody can get All-Star MVP, like if Shai Gilgeous-Alexander gets All-Star MVP.
Game MVP last year. Who was the All-Star Game MVP last year?
Giannis, I think.
Yeah.
Before that,
I don't know. I know Kawhi won one of them in the last 5 years. That's all I know.
I will say though, I'm nervous to say it.
Say it.
Because of it's in Indiana, so Halliburton's been doing the interview tour, and I've been watching him. He's a good interview. He's someone I've been watching.
I saw him get interviewed during that celebrity game though, and he was like, "I'm not really going to be trying. I'm on a minutes restriction. I'm overcoming an injury." That might, but all it takes to win All-Star Game MVP, if you make 7 3-pointers out of 10 or something like that, you're well on your way.
Yeah, I meant it from I'm not going to put any eggs into the basket of that game. I just meant that he's the hometown guy for the game, and he's in the spotlight because he was on the JJ Redick podcast. He was on Pat McAfee. It's I'm becoming more aware of him and learning more about his game. That's why.
$20 says Giannis takes the game ball.
The game ball story. That was a funny story hearing him explain that.
Okay. Last year it was Tatum.
Yeah. And then
yes.
And then it was Curry, Giannis, Kawhi, and Durant.
Okay.
Those are the last 5.
All right. And the Card Father 13 says Halliburton has 2 voices.
Yes, dude. Dude, everyone that's watching, go Google that. Halliburton 2 voices. He didn't even know about it. I was waiting for someone to Redick didn't say it, and then finally McAfee was like, "Do you have two voices?" And he was like, "What?" And all the guys on the show were like, "Yeah, dude, we were gonna say something, but we were so confused." And he's like, I didn't even know that."
Yeah, he's got quite the fashion sense as well. That Halliburton.
I can't stand these guys in their fashion.
He's in it. He goes in a different direction though. Like his is just eccentric, is what I would say.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, in like 5 years, they're going to be pulling the Chris McGill. I'm calling it now. He's gone so far this way that in 5 years, it's going to swing all the way back to slides and hoodies.
Luka already does that. I don't think Luka.
He's close. He's close to not giving an F.
Yeah.
You know what made me laugh so hard was they showed Kyle Shanahan walk the red carpet or whatever into the Super Bowl stadium, and he had on a suit with a jacket and a nice, it was very professional, corporate. And then he goes out onto the sidelines and he's got a T-shirt on and a hat and.
So he had to go change in the locker room?
He took himself down like 4 notches on the dress code scale, from like business professional to business casual. Like he went all the way down.
That's why they lost. The guy spent 20 minutes getting undressed for no reason.
Let me see if yes. Yep, you're right though, man. The era of the flip flop is coming, and then what will I pivot to? Then?
I mean, Jason Kelce already did that this whole last year.
Durant does it a little bit too. Durant wears he just wears like a beanie and a hoodie. Like he doesn't do it as much as but he doesn't. He's been doing that a little bit.
Yeah, Durant has definitely been on that wavelength. Okay, let's get on some questions. We have a lot of big questions, a lot of market questions. This first one comes from Vinny Slabarino. Vinny says, "Always enjoy the show. I know the 3 of you are collectors, but do you ever feel the need to force yourselves to think like an investor? Meaning, do you ever feel compelled to diversify, buy other players, buy other sports, purchase other eras from a financial planning point of view? I do feel the need to do that, but I also resent it because I consider myself to be a pure collector, but the fiscally responsible part of me can't help but show up once in a while. Thanks, Vinny."
Yeah, this is a great question. Did you think about that at all when you bought that Mahomes, or think along this line?
No. When that Mahomes showed up, it was right when I was really taking interest in the concept of the true rookie card and the parallel to the true rookie card, and that was really what got me so excited about the Mahomes, honestly, and just wanting to have a part of who's clearly been the best football player over the last 6 years.
That's kind of what he's saying. He's saying diversifying a bit into a player that's more safe versus having all of what you've got.
Yeah, then I suppose it did to some extent. Yeah. But I wonder, what's he? What is he? What's he's saying I don't like, or he's saying put me at ease maybe for having thoughts like this, or is he saying I don't want to do this, talk me out of it?
Yeah, I think maybe he's saying the way I interpreted it is I plan on, or I have recently spent an amount of money that puts it past this is a fun hobby for me, and now it's to the point of I have to think about it in terms of investing because it's enough money to tip the scale. So it's kind of forced me to think about significance of the card and future potential value and stuff like that versus just taking purely on aesthetics or whatever.
Yeah. Yep. So he talks about diversifying, and it always makes me think of the Warren Buffett quotes on diversifying, which is diversification is protection against ignorance. It makes little sense if you know what you are doing, but then that's followed up with some analysis that says, I hear this quote a lot from investors. They are typically young and male and very confident. So that sentiment of hey, I know what I'm doing, so I don't need to diversify. I don't need to hedge against my own decision making. can come from a place of like undue confidence, but there is something to it too. Like in the hobby, in cards, I would say for me, I just want to have fun. I want to stick to what I know and what I like, and you'll never. Well, it's unlikely that you'll ever see me like getting a mantle from the 50s or 60s or something like that.
Yeah, I've had a couple people mention to me like, "Oh, you should sell off a piece of your LeBron PC and buy MJ's instead and diversify and make it safer. Because what if LeBron does XYZ and Jordan's already done this, so like it makes sense. Like that does make sense financially, but like I don't have any nostalgia for MJ. Like I don't have any attachment, so it's just like that sounds good in theory, but I'm just like that doesn't interest me enough to do that. It's like. Yeah, so that's kind of maybe the way I thought of the mini question was like, that's probably the smart thing, but it's fine. I don't care.
Yeah, and this is not, this isn't like a great response from people who want to constantly see the hobby pie grow, but maybe if I were concerned on that level, maybe the right hedge is to sell some cards, period, and put it into something conservative.
Like 5% interest cash reserve accounts.
Exactly. Frankie says that we all know you're going to diversify into Trae Young, Chad.
Now's the time. I think his gold prism's up for sale for like the 33rd time.
Yeah, I don't know that I have a good answer to Vinny's question. I really like some of the observations you made, but it's just an interesting thing to think about and for people to think about on their own, I think.
What do you think about you said that we have a lot of like market questions. What do you think about like I'm not calling the viewers out or our audience out, our amazing audience, but like I'm curious why people keep asking us like pricing and market questions when they know sort of that's not really at the front of our mind, and we don't like make fun of it, but we joke about it in the sense that like we don't think about it directly, the market and their performance and stuff, because we do lean much more heavily towards like we're just kind of buying what we like. But I thought about that more, and I thought like I wonder if people are trying to glean from the knowledge of like maybe that's the right way to do it, and maybe those guys have some sort of secret sauce in terms of picking the market in terms of focusing on it as a collector.
Yeah, you might be onto something there. I think I just think everybody likes to just sort of make fun of everything. and honestly, if we got a large influx of questions on any topic, we would be mocking it. We would be mocking it. So
I think that Card Ladder is why they ask pricing questions.
Maybe a factor as well, small factor.
And then they enjoy that, like you two are pure collectors who will mock the fact that you have built and run a market analytics app.
They're like, look at these hypocrites. We got to ask them about this.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see if we can put them into a corner here.
I have a hilarious response that's more of like an inside joke that you guys will laugh at, but it's still funny. Just buy the membership and go look at it yourself. You don't need us to tell you. Just buy it, log in, and check it out. We don't hide anything.
Yeah, you do better that way probably than I don't know. All right. Next question from Pax That Slap says, "I'm a collector at heart, but would it behoove me to get some sealed 2023-2024 basketball wax to hold long term?"
That's what I'm talking about. Like we make fun of wax all the time, and now.
Yep.
I just like can't ever picture myself being like, yeah, I'm super jazzed to give you advice to buy wax and hold it.
Yeah, I mean, nothing pleases the eye more than a big brown box. Well, I guess that'd be a case. That'd be a case. Yes, you feel like you have something. No, she does. Okay.
That's the case. The case is I can like maybe see the sealed boxes because there is some. Do you remember when you used to go when you were a kid, like go to Target or the mall or something, and you'd see like the shiny chrome or metal boxes, and they would like have that back flap up, and you could just pick a couple packs out. Like I do have some nostalgia for like the actual boxes themselves because I remember like going to Target and picking out my favorite pack. I used to buy like metal packs, like 96 metal. So there's some like excitement over
Yeah,
that,
there is.
but the cases, it's like oh fuck.
Well, so one thing to be said about sealed product is that it's a way to speculate on a full class instead of just one member of it. So you don't have to pick Brandon Miller, or Scoot or Wemby, sort of get a piece of all of them, or maybe it's some other guy who emerges from that class, right? So like it's a chance to have.
Yeah, look at 2015. Who would have thought that Jokic would be the chase?
Yeah,
going into
exactly
like that product.
Definitely. So like there's definitely some merit to that. Here's the flip side though that doesn't get talked about when it comes to speculating on sealed products. What happens when the chase card gets pulled?
Right.
What happens when the Wemby, if it's like the Prism 2023-24 Wemby, what happens when that Prism Black gets pulled?
Right.
Then a big allure of that product is gone. Like that's like what's going to happen 2018 Prism when the Luka Black eventually shows up? I don't think those boxes are going to fare well once that happens.
The other part that I'm not sure if you mentioned, but having someone emerge late, like it kind of felt like the LaMelo Wiseman class is going to be a bust, and then now like Halliburton's emerged and Edwards is playing good. So like having guys sort of like come on a year or two later makes having that exciting. Like oh now it's back to being a little bit exciting. Like you said 2015 when Jokic comes on 3 or 4 years later down the road, it's like okay now I do have something in this case that I didn't have before.
Yeah, totally. And that's fun too. That's a fun part of that. Or like that's even fun for like when you just like open some boxes and you like throw them all in a 5-row, and like at the time you're opening it, some guy's just a totally obscure prospect you don't even think about, and then a few years later you go through that stuff, you're like, oh crap, look, I have like a blue out of 199 of this guy or something.
Or like Knicks fans right now with Brunson, second rounder. He was probably a nobody in that product, but now emerging.
Probably gave away so many Brunsons. Oh my god!
I don't talk about it. We gave away so much 2018 like product, like Prism. Like it makes me sick.
Yeah. All right.
Then
moving on.
Then you also get to watch Kevin Knox be on the box with and him just be a complete bust.
That's so crazy that Kevin Knox is the one on that box.
They got it half right.
Yeah. All right. At least they did get it half right. It's like I think they've like gone more conservative lately with who they usually actually go pretty conservative with who they put on the box. Even like other iterations of Prism. Like, can you grab that for me, please? Like the 2018 Prism retail configuration. I think this is a blaster.
It is.
I have no idea why we did this.
Because we were being.
Oh, this was like a background ornament
for House of Jordan.
Yeah.
Oh, just put KD on.
Yeah, like Kevin Durant is the one who's on this. So.
Oh man.
Thank you. All right, from Drake's PC. Drake had a different comment that got people fired up.
I saw the one you're talking about. You had two, right?
Sorry, no, yeah, this is the one. This is the one that got people fired up. Yeah, I put this one up front.
He loves getting people fired up.
Oh, yeah. Drake says, discuss the meaning of this quote from someone who has a card that you want of a retired player that you collect. And then here's the quote. The quote is, when I decide to make this card available, I'll let you know first.
Yeah.
End quote. This tells me that they are not planning to keep the card, but because the player is retired, there's no further opportunity for a hype cycle. There won't be more rings. There won't be more MVPs. There's nothing that can cause a value bump. So why not move on from the card today?
Yeah, that's not how I take that phrase. I gotta be honest. I take it as like, this is a PC card for me. I don't want to move it, but I'm not going to say that I'm never going to sell it. And even Drake himself later in one of the comments and replies, he says like, nothing on my PC is forever. You know, you never know if something better might come along that I want to upgrade. I took it as that. Like, I might upgrade in the future, so I'm not going to say I'm never going to sell it, but right now I'm not selling it.
I've definitely used this line when people have asked me for like a Luca card, and I'll be like, no, it's not for sale. And then they keep pushing. And I'm like, look, if it comes up first, like if I decide to make it available, like I know you're interested.
Yeah.
That's all that tells me.
It's like a mental log. Like, you've pushed enough where I'm going to remember you.
Maybe. I mean, I say that though, like, and then I don't remember who those people are. So
Have that, and then you're digging through DMs and you're like, I'm never going to find this person. I can't remember.
Exactly. That's really, you have to like commit to making a Rolodex of those names.
Yeah, if someone wrote that to me, I would check in with them like every quarter and be like, hey, just want to remind you I'm interested in this card.
Yeah.
And then be like, not trying to be a nuisance, but I don't want you to forget I'm interested in this card.
Yeah. There's definitely the courtesy angle that was like pointed out in the comments as well, of like maybe somebody just saying this to politely tell you no, but not totally extinguish your hopes.
Right.
So
yeah, he's like taking the pessimistic side to some of these interactions. I would say it's probably not as bad as he thinks, and I think this guy is probably trying to be nice.
Yeah, that's in the cards here. That's definitely a possibility. There's also a possibility though that somebody is sort of stringing him along.
Yeah.
That is possible too. We don't know.
Okay, so my advice then to Drake would be offer a higher price. Right.
There's the rub.
Yeah, like, okay, if I just, like, when I decide to make it available, I'll let you know first. Well, here's some incentive to make it available, and you don't have to let me know because I'm making an offer.
Yeah. Yeah, that just always can backfire. Yeah, go ahead, Josh.
The more that people don't want to sell me stuff, the more I know I'm on the right track. So I take it as like man, like I just can't get my hands on this card from the 3 people that I know that own it, or 2 people, and it's just like no one's selling this damn thing. Like I always take that as like a bit of a challenge and remind myself that, you know, this is a long game. It might show up at auction randomly 3 years down the road, and you just like it can be a good thing.
For sure. All right. Moving on next, from 1956, Topps Guy discuss the differences in collecting communities that are built on rare cards versus communities that are built on available cards. I like how communities are built around available cards because they are generally more supportive, whereas those communities that are built around rare cards are more competitive. I like being able to help my buddies get the same or better examples of the cards that I have, as opposed to being worried about me not having it because it's so rare.
Support groups versus competitive groups.
Like Jason F. Young in the chat is like on the scent here, because yeah, I think this is almost a proxy for here's why the vintage community is better than people chasing super rare, ultra modern, or 90s. And it's because in the vintage community, we're not competing against each other. We're more helping each other. But in the other scenario, like these cards are so limited, it gets very competitive.
I felt bullshit because if a good like PSA 7 came up for market, all of those supportive people, and I'm trying very hard not to swear because it's Lent, all those supportive people would be like dogs on the last rib bone.
Dogs on the last rib bone. I'm trying not to cuss.
Oh, that's sweet. I'm getting that one.
Okay. Good.
Do you remember when I went on that like super long rant that Mantle's overrated?
Yeah, I do. Yep.
Ever since then, this 56 Topps guy has just been on our scent. He's just like, these guys are anti-vintage. I got to keep my eye on these fools. Like, he's keeping his enemies close. I know what he's doing.
Yeah, no, I don't mind the pushback or like the hey, like there's good things about the way we do stuff too.
I mean, I'm in both chats. Like, I'm in supportive chats, and then I'm in like competitive chats.
Yeah.
But most of my chats revolve around lamenting how bad the Mavericks are. I'm not gonna lie.
I always am going to go back to vintage being like the stable thing to look to know that like we're in a good spot for the future of what we collect. Because that question's always like, oh, people are going to forget. I think we have a question this week is like people are going to forget MJ because the nostalgia curve is going to go. It's like, okay, no one that collects Babe Ruth today ever saw him play, yet his cards are worth more than ever. So like vintage is always going to be that like backstop for us, so like we have to respect it.
Yes, let's go to that question. So this is from Jeff Rose, Jordans and More. Watched the DPZ show, the Dennis Zender show on YouTube a couple weeks ago, and they discussed the nostalgia curve and its effect on cards. For a second, it made me worry that we're at the peak of the curve with respect to 80s and 90s cards, and particularly Michael Jordan cards. However, I believe the wild card, one thing we have going for us, is that young kids are actually watching YouTube footage of Michael Jordan and Kobe and so on. And therefore, we are making new fans every day. What do you guys think about the curve and its impact now and in the future?
Do you have a reference point on this curve at all?
No, I do not. I did not watch the episode in question, but I think I kind of understand what it's saying. I mean, it's kind of saying like, look, everybody who is nostalgic about the 90s is most likely in their late 30s, 40s, 50s. And that these people are approaching, if not near, their peak earning power. And, eventually they're going to cycle out. And the demand for this stuff is going to decrease because you won't have as eager of people with peak earning power wanting it. That would be my guess.
Cycle out of what?
Like they'll take a back seat. Maybe not. I don't know what time horizon's being referred to here. If we're talking about like right now, I don't know.
Well, there's a difference between earning power and net worth.
Yep.
So like your peak earning power means like the most you can accumulate at that given time from a job, but like your net worth in theory should continue to go up. So I'm not seeing this. I don't understand it. And again, how do you explain people buying Babe Ruth cards?
Yeah. So that's where I would go to is like, I don't know if I am a believer in the idea that like young fans of basketball will watch highlights of players on YouTube and like become fans. I don't think it really will work that way. I think it's more like young people become fans of the active storylines that are going on right now. And then they're going to be nostalgic for it when they're in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. But what I do think factors in is like what you were talking about with Babe Ruth, where it's more so about Babe Ruth is the symbol of the greatest baseball player to ever live, or one of the greatest, depending upon where you rank him and stuff. Like I think ESPN's top 100 list had him at number 1. And so that the symbol of collecting the very best guy is always going to be a strong symbol. And that's always going to appeal to people, whether they're young or not. I think that's part of the appeal of like the mantle. And mantle stuff is like, this guy is the most iconic figure on a sports card. And so there's people want a piece of that. They want a piece of that idea.
Plus, like the kids, or like this nostalgia thing we're talking about with MJ, like kids that are, I would say like our age and maybe a little bit older, isn't the peak earning power like mid 40s? So like we're like coming up on the peak, like we're still like 10 years away from it. So
Yep, I think that's right. And you know what? The other thing too is like something that I think about on this topic is that I'm pretty sure there were multiples more people collecting in the 80s and the 90s than there were in the 50s and the 60s. So I think about that, in terms of like, it's been stated publicly on podcasts that that each of the Beckett magazines had monthly circulation of about 1 million for the different sports, for basketball, for football, for baseball. And so, there are millions of people who are interested in following cards at the level of subscribing to a magazine about cards during the 90s. So like, I just think like if vintage fares this well, there's a lot more people who are potentially going to be interested in 90s cards, but there's also more 90s cards too.
I'd push back on that because, like, how many of those subscribers were kids versus adults who were looking up their vintage prices, who had already cycled back into the hobby at that juncture?
Yep.
So, like, I'd push back on that without knowing the demographics of the subscribers.
Yeah. Yep, that's fair. Well, we have another question that gets into this a little bit. So this one comes from Matt Bubar, and he says, sometimes something I think about a lot lately is how every year across all the sports, we get all these new products. We get all these new cards. And each year that increases so that the total market cap on all sports cards is continually going up. But there's no major decline in vintage card prices, and lots of cards always sell for record highs. So my question is, where does the new money come from? Are we gaining enough newcomers to the hobby? Is it because not everyone is selling what they have all at once? Just in general, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
I mean, a lot of it's like you're seeing a reduction in money spent on guys like cycling out of that, like 50-year and 60-year players that nobody's interested in anymore, and they're just like moving that money to the rookies and second-year guys. So there's a lot of that going on, but you definitely are having new entrants, and the people that buy vintage keep buying vintage, and the people who are coming in and doing these cycles on the prospecting, plus like younger kids coming in and joining and new entrants and stuff. I don't know. It's a pretty fluid thing.
Totally. Yeah. Like on your vintage points, the supply of vintage cards is staying pretty much fixed. Like new cards are graded, every year, but it's staying pretty fixed. But like you said, like the people who like vintage, they pretty much stick to vintage, I think, and they make more money every year. They get new income every month, every 2 weeks, and if they're burning it somewhere. So I think that's a factor. But then, like, I don't know if the total market cap on cards actually goes up every year because there are so many cards that go to Zerosville.
Yeah.
So many. So, like, look at, not to pick on these guys too much because, like, it's far from over for their markets. But look at Zion Williamson, look at Ja Morant. Like,
yep.
these guys' market caps are down probably 70 to 80% of their peaks. So if they once had $10 million worth of cards, they probably now have 2.5, 3 million. Like, if that would be, hypothetically, that would be the shift in market cap there. So I'm not even sure that market cap goes up every year. I think there's a lot of stuff, especially it's particularly the prospected stuff.
Yeah, when people are like, where are people getting all the money to spend on, these rookies that haven't proven anything? Why are people spending so much money on all these prospects? And it's like, well, because they've sold all their Zion and Trae Young, and they have all this money that's no longer being put into that field, and they're putting into the new one. It's just pretty simple.
Definitely. All right. Okay. Brax Ball Cards got some people fired up with this one too.
He's testy this week with this True Collector versus. Is he? He's like, he might even just be like a legit grinder flipper guy. We don't even know.
We don't know. That'd be funny. Whose alias might this really be? If it was just like a pure grinder flipper who just wanted to troll a little bit.
It's Gary V hiding in plain sight.
It's Gary V. All right. Brax Ball. If it was Gary V, I don't think he could resist being like something about V friends or something.
Or just like he has to be like Gary V. Like, hey, look who I am.
Exactly. All right, but here's what Brax Ball Card says. I see a lot of story posts after a true collector nabs a grail of their goat with people dapping them up. Okay, I don't think you get dapped up through a story post. And saying things like, I love it when a card ends up with the right collector. That noise gotta shut up, bro. Especially since more often than not, the right collector eventually moves it as part of a grail consolidation project. People give investors and flippers like me a bad name, but true collectors / consolidators are the greatest frauds in the hobby. They've just found a way to rebrand the concept of flipping or investing by using trendy buzzwords like consolidation. It's the best rebrand since Mayo became aioli. But I see true collectors and consolidators. I see you all, and I ain't fooled.
Okay, first of all, Mayo has always been aioli. Like, it's just a different language. Like, it literally means mayonnaise.
Well, now that we got that out of the way. Any other reactions?
No, that was funny. Well said, Brax Ball.
Yeah, what is there to say to that? Brax Ball is standing on business.
I don't take you seriously if I don't know who you are. So take off your mask and stop being anonymous, and I'll actually give you true consideration.
Whatever happened? Cardboard never came back?
Nope. Cardboard never came back. Not yet.
That's disappointing.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. Is there any reaction necessary to this? I don't think so. I think it's. It makes a fine point.
Who doesn't love a zag? We love a good zag.
Yeah. Yep. We love a good zag indeed.
Plus,
thank you, Brad.
There's definitely a lot of those posts where you and I like know the true this guy's probably gonna be selling that in a week. Not available yet.
Exactly. All right. Kevin M. Cormier says, how many of the overpriced bins on eBay are the result of people trying to take a moderate hit and use it to make up for the multiple previous breaks where they struck out?
I don't know. Probably a lot.
Yeah, it's just, I'm not mad at that. It's just a little rage comment, you know?
Yeah.
Probably
that's
not getting a fair price on a PC card.
That has some salty vibes there. Just when is this person going to lower the price so I can get my grail?
You said that was from Drake?
Some Drake's PC vibes. There you go.
Yeah.
Fair enough, though. That's okay. We can blow off a little steam here. All right. Publius13 says, after years of cartel-like behavior, is fee compression finally here? It seems like eBay Vault's 0% fee campaign has forced some competitors to consider if selling a basketball card should have the highest transactional costs in America.
Publius and the fees. Somebody they really wants to figure out those fees.
Let's get those fees down.
I mean, even worse than card fees are realtor fees. So, like, I'm pretty like.
Are they worse?
We should investigate that.
A realtor takes what, a few percent, maybe up to 6 or something like that.
I don't know, but there was like a class action lawsuit recently because they don't compete. Like they all set they all set the same percentage. So like they got in trouble for like setting the market and not moving it.
They got in big trouble.
Yeah.
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 Dang, realtors are taking strays tonight.
You and your dumb shit boxes. Oh, mother.
I think that
you have your vacation home right now?
Yeah. I think that fees on vaults and marketplaces are way higher than realtor. Way higher. I think like I was on an eBay selling spree at the end of last year, and like I would like the buyer would pay $180 for the card when you factored in sales tax, and like after my shipping fees and stuff, I was like netting 90 or $100. Because like I would pay the standard eBay fee, and then it was a promoted listing, so I would get knocked like another 10 or 12% or whatever I set it to, and like it just all just got feed away.
What do we need realtors for? Can't we just list it on Zillow ourselves and like take offers?
I don't know. There's lots of stuff you gotta do. The inspection, you gotta have the contract. You
I'll just
walk
hire
through the
somebody. I'll just pay. Yeah, call a place to come do the appraisal.
I don't know. These are questions outside of my wheelhouse. But yeah, I think we can all rally around the idea that it'll be great when fees come down. You know, fees are why there's so much transacting like on social media too, you know.
Yeah. We should raise our fees from 20 to 22.
Yeah. Or like, but here's what happens when you're in an unstructured world. Like all of a sudden you're in a deal no deal group, and like nobody's actually trying to sell anything. And nobody's
like,
actually trying to buy anything.
I didn't even think anyone would respond. I was just trying to see what it was worth.
Exactly. I just wanted to have some offers come in and rub one out to them later.
That's the title.
No, it's not. All right. Cardiac Kemba PC. Love this question. Have we reached the point in the hobby where if you want to be considered the best modern player collector, you basically need all of the top one-of-ones?
This is your fault, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
He's just blaming you. Like, he's like, Chris is basically making me realize that if I don't have the one-on-ones and I'm not a player collector.
Well, if I say it, you should discard it, and here's why. I'm obviously a stupid person, because if I was smart, I would just say the thing that makes everybody feel good, and then everybody will be happy and they'll like it. So I would just say, you know what? The best player PC is filled with the most, full of common cards, and everybody can have the best player PC, and we'll all be happy. But I don't. I say something ridiculous that will only make one person happy or two people happy, and will piss off everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, you can either like do the super collector, try to cover 90% of the player checklist thing, or you could just have like the top 3 cards and be done. Those are like 2 paths, reasonable paths to take, and they might be like equal in difficulty, to be honest, and financially.
Yeah. Yep. I do think that not only for modern players, like, do you need the one-of-ones. If you want to really say you have the best, I think that's true for the 90s too. I think if you really want to save the best 90s, you need the one-of-ones. At least a few.
Poor MK.
Yeah. That's just what I think. Who cares what I think? All right.
I care.
Thank you. The Spirit of Cardboard says, Josh on the fence.
I'm in between, yeah.
The Spirit of Cardboard would like to know, is the term the hobby a bit narcissistic? Do quilters harbor any resentment?
What was that one hobby space that I made that random comparison to one time? I can't remember.
The cooking community, maybe? Or the recipe community.
The recipe community. I wonder if those people are like, God damn it, hobby is our name, you fuckers.
Well, what would happen if one of those communities suddenly asserted itself as the hobby?
Maybe other people do call themselves the hobby, and we're just so like conceited that we don't even know it. We don't even hear it.
Well, look, like the hobby is, we are comprised of lots of people who probably played sports at one point in their lives, and like that's just automatically going to be like this sort of arrogant group, Yeah. And so it's true to form that we call ourselves the hobby. I remember my brother's first reaction to like the hobby as like the term, and he didn't love it. He did not love it at all. He was just like, putting aside the pretense of like of excluding all other hobbies. It also just sounded a little weird. Like it's the hobby.
The hobby. I don't even love it. We should come up with something else. Call ourselves card collectors.
We rebrand right now.
Yeah, the card collecting space.
The CCS. I don't know. Yeah, what does he think now? What do you think now, Nick, about the hobby? All right. It's definitely a bit narcissistic. Okay. Mike Pinkerton 50 says, will basketball cards come back? Oh, this is good. The Cardfather 13 says we should call ourselves the 2.5-inch club. That's good. All right. Mike Pinkerton 50 wants to know, will basketball cards come back? Do we need another generational player to come along? Don't we have one right now in the current class?
What's Wemby's? What's his numbers right now?
It's like 20 and 10 and like 27 minutes a game.
Yeah,
and he leads the league in blocks.
He leads the league in blocks.
Yeah, and I watched him Wednesday nights score 20 points in like his first 10 minutes against the Mavs.
Yeah, I haven't seen him play in a while because they suck and they're never on TV. But I should watch some highlights. I heard he's playing well.
Yeah. He's getting better. He is exactly what he is, as good as one could have hoped if one was hoping for him to be good.
He just needs a new coach. He's like a Hall of Fame coach.
That might help. All right. From What Are We Doing Here? Is now the time to invest in soccer cards?
Maybe like 2014 base Prism Mbappe cards.
Yeah, I think he's 18, but yes.
I think that it's really silly that they're going to bring the world's most expensive ACLs to Jet Stadium to play the World Cup.
Isn't the World Cup going to be in the USA soon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what she's saying.
2026 is going to be the final is going to be held at Jet Stadium,
where like knees have been blown out.
Yeah.
So you're saying the Achilles Stadium?
Yes. Maybe they'll have some new sod by that.
It worked well for the Niners.
It's going to be in New York,
didn't it?
The whole tournament.
What's that, John?
The whole tournament's in New York, or it's in different states?
The tournament is across across North America. The final is in MetLife Stadium, and then there will be games that will be played in Dallas.
This is supposed to like boost up the soccer market.
I guess so. I don't know. I think I'll tell you this. All right, I'll tell you this. Lionel Messi's Mega Cracks PSA 10 rookie card. Actually, I'm not even sure if it's a true rookie card, so I'll just say the 2000. I just don't know enough. The 2004 Panini Sports Messi, number 71. This card right here. Okay. Everybody's seen that card by now. It's got a pretty nice looking graph.
Yeah.
And it's got 17 sales in the last 10 years. It's a Pop 19, and just basically sold a few weeks ago for over $300,000, and that's pretty darn close to its all-time high.
It's like somehow not seeing the correction of the Brady champ ticket saw.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's similar-ish. card.
I guess it is. Yeah. Do you want to? Should we look at that graph? That graph is not as friendly to the eye.
Like,
All
so
right.
why is that? Yeah, why is that Messi not doing the same thing?
Here is the graph. It looks like a mountain structure.
It's football versus American football.
This
Maybe.
is for the Brady. This is for Brady Champ Ticket BGS 85, which is a card number to 100, and it went as high as 2.3 million, and now
Oh man, I know who bought that one.
now it's selling for 270,000. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe if it just never went above the 250 to 300,000 range, right? Like the Messi never did.
The pop for that one is 28 for anyone who's interested.
Yeah.
So.
It's a card number to 100.
Right, but the pop for the PSA 10 on the Messi Mega Cracks is 19.
Yep. I think that's a big part of it, Josh, is that that Brady went up to 2 million.
Yeah.
And the Messi never went over 300 and change.
But true. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So we should, like, people just never got overly enthusiastic about the Messi versus the Brady.
Maybe. God damn. 2.3 down to 230.
Yeah, I know who that was.
I don't know who it was. So.
You could just guess. I mean, he's the one that bought all those ones at the top. Same guy.
Well, that guy is in it for the long haul, as they say.
No, he's got card shops now to make money.
All right. Let's
it's
go.
It's like the holiest time of year. You're not making it easy on me, Joshua.
All right, let's go on to the next question here from Basketball Card Collector 93.
I have no idea what she's talking about, but it's funny.
Christina is repenting for Lent.
Yes.
Of all of her sins.
Mm.
Yes.
It's going to be a long
Sounds
Lent.
horrible. Sounds horrible.
It is.
She's got a lot of things to go through.
Yeah, it's going to be a long Lent. All right.
It's 40 days and I'm on day 3.
Oh my gosh, you're just one day after the next, huh?
Basketball Card Collector 93 says, when getting a card that's in an old PSA or BGS label, do you prefer to leave it in the old slab or do you prefer to re-slab it? I like that BGS shows you when the card was graded, which is an incentive to leave it as is, but I'm curious what others think.
Yeah. I like the old ones. A lot of times they're cool.
Yeah, remember during the pandemic we had a guy who just like was constantly like
Yes.
There was that highlight reel dunking guy. He was just like, talk about new certs, like talk about new slabs and how they're better than the old slabs.
He wanted us to make like a separate card ladder index for the newers because he was so upset about it. I think he left the hobby.
I think there's nothing cooler than having a vintage slab in like a really old PSA with a really old PSA flip. Like,
yeah.
Because it just everything about it is old. When you have like a new flip on a vintage card, it just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah. Well, some people are of the argument that like PSA has gotten more strict. So like the 7 and 8 certs are actually like the PSA 10 MJs with 7s and 8s are actually better condition because they're tougher. So I think that's what that guy was saying too.
And there may be something to that. And there's also the ability to with PSA you can re-slab your card.
Yeah.
And keep the cert.
Yeah.
So like if you have an old cert number, you re-slab it, you get the new Lighthouse label and everything, or whatever it's called. But you still have the old cert number, which is cool because you still sort of have that provenance of
some of the older PSA slabs are like heavier. I have an older one with like the silver PSA hologram in the middle, and it's heavier, which I like.
Nice. Yeah. All right.
Like this. I just think this is a better.
Yeah, that old timey,
Yeah.
like with the typewriter looking fonts.
Yeah.
Typewriter one. Yep, like that's the best one.
On a vintage card
Yeah,
as well.
can PSA bring back like typewriter font on vintage flips? Because I would be all about that, please.
Yeah, it looks cool.
All right. SWJ Cards says, with the end of the Panini era in sight for the three major sports. Yeah, I don't know if this is quite the Panini era for baseball. They did make half-licensed baseball cards, but I would say, not to nitpick the question, I would say the era is ending for basketball and football. And I'm not quite sure I would say there was a baseball era. There sort of was, I guess. Anyway, do you foresee unreleased cards, backdoor copies, and uncut sheets making their way into the markets, as we have seen for 90s manufacturers who closed their doors? What do you think about that?
Probably not. I mean, that was probably more of a product of like living in a different time in the 90s and things being a little bit more, like having less, we didn't have as good of technology in the inventory spaces, and, we didn't have as good of like spreadsheets managing things and stuff like that. So it was probably more a product of that, I would guess.
I think it probably will not match the extent of what we had in the 90s with respect to that, especially because like so much of that stuff made its way to market through bankruptcy proceedings.
Exactly.
Which was a little weird as well. Not to say that that couldn't happen to Panini either, but just that's an unusual dimension of this. But there's also there's already been instances of unreleased or never intended to be released Panini replacement copies that have made it to the market. I think Dan the Cardman had coverage of a Lamar Jackson 1/1 that had a duplicate copy leak out. There may have been some others as well that aren't coming to my mind right now.
But to be fair, Topps has put in multiple super refractors in the same product and released that. So
yeah,
like
they're
all not like there have been mishandling of copies of like the unreleased
right
across the board.
Yeah, there has been, and the thing that Panini has done that I just despise, that the 90s didn't do, is Panini took a lot of their replacement copies, and they had players like they never stamped their replacement copies, but they took some of their replacement copies, like a Mahomes Prism Gold, and they never stamped it out of 10, but they had him sign it, and they had him, and then somebody hand numbered it 1/1, and then they put it into a non-rookie year release, like 2018 Panini Honors, or Panini Honors had another new product come out, and it's this product that's full of these cards that are unstamped, quality control versions of actual rookie grails that get put into these other products, and these are not rookie cards. They're not rookie year cards, and they're not stamped, but they're sort of novelty cards or something. I mean, people like them, and they are cool, and they're beautiful, but like that, I hate that Panini did that. I hate it. It has really diluted the specialness of some of those cards. Like, I'll give an example so people can see what I'm talking about. And like some of these cards get listed sometimes on eBay, and like they're not listed as what they're supposed to be called. It's like, here's an example, right? Like this card this is just a stunning card. Like, this is Mahomes' rookie year Prism Gold. He has autographed the front of it, and it's hand numbered 1/1. But the card itself is from a product called 2018, which is not his rookie year. 2018 Panini Honors Recollection Collection. All right. That is just, that's unfortunate. That should never happen.
Like a random product from 2018. It's not like it's Prism.
No, it's just, we have a question coming up from Ryan Bitter here. Yeah, I'll just go to this question. Ryan Bitter says, what is your definition of a gimmick card? That right there, my friend, is a gimmick card.
Yeah, it's something that goes outside the traditional, like checklist type setup of what you expect. Like the set, the year, the parallel, the insert. It's going outside of that.
Yep. Yeah, and like it's such a cruel trick to play on people in the sense that let's say you're collecting the rookie year Prism Gold of your PC player. You have no idea how many times they're going to put out a Panini Honors product that might have an unstamped version of the card that you thought there were 10 of, and there still are 10 of, but like there's this sort of other confusing version of it out there.
That Mahomes doesn't have a stamp on the back? Wait, so you could pull that from a 2018 product?
Yep.
So someone pulled that card and they were like, what the hell is this?
Exactly.
This guy was a rookie last year. What am I looking at?
Yeah. And it's autographed, hard signed, which they don't do for Prism. So that's like a really cool perk of that card is it's hard signed on Prism and hand numbered 1 of 1. So it's such a confusing card.
Yeah. Like when Mahomes got it, he's like, I'm signing this? I thought these were, and this is an autograph card. Well, this is from last year, Pat. Whatever.
And then you get stuff like this, which like hits home for me, because like you have this McCaffrey, right, which is from Panini Honors, and look what it was titled by Probstein, 2017.
Didn't you have that card?
I had one of them. Panini. I had one that was a BGS 9 from 2018 Panini Honors, and then this one's from like 2022 Panini Honors. Yes.
What?
Yes, there's multiple of these 1 of 1s that look exactly the same that came out in different Panini Honors products.
What is Black Box?
Let me just. Okay, this is not 2017. This is not a 2017 card. So
Right.
it's
Pristine.
just it's ridiculous.
Pristine looks better than it is.
Okay, so what is Black Box? So my understanding of what Black Box and White Box are is something similar to this, but instead of it coming in the Panini Honors product, it's put into black boxes and white boxes that are given to people at the National who are trying to redeem other cards during the National that never got fulfilled.
But they're like cards that they have duplicates of from previous rookie years that they've re-signed with hand-numbered 1 of 1s?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
well, yeah, it's crazy, man. It's
like I wanted a redemption of a real card. You just gave me a gimmick fake card, actually, in place of it.
It's just, somebody in the chat is like, the Card Father says, how does a Panini Honors Gold comp to a True Rookie Gold? Not quite as strong, but these cards command real money. These cards...
Because people are confused. They don't know what to do with it. It's a 1 of 1 with the image of what they associate as their rookie card.
Yeah. Exactly. But like, and that's another one of those situations where it's like, God, you hope that it's not somebody who doesn't know what they're buying.
Right.
And then they get it, and then later on they figure out that it's not what they thought it was, that it's not a rookie year card. That's just not going to do. That's just, we could do without it. We should not be having products like that. Like, it's a real betrayal of the concept of the print run if Panini can insert extra copies of something that they've stamped out of 10, but then they're inserting extra copies of it that are hard signed, numbered 1 of 1 in later products and later products. It's like, was that a false print run when you said it was out of 10?
I saw a PSA 9 sale from Probstein, and in the listing title it said double quote pristine. The PSA 9 is pristine now. Oof.
What does that even do? Who is that moving the needle for? Who's like, my max was going to be 500, but since it says pristine, I'm going up to the best.
And it wasn't in the sub one because he always does the looks better than in the subtitle one. It was in the main title, all caps, pristine. And the centering was terrible. It was like, it's not even pristine.
All right. Do you want to say anything else about the definition of a gimmick card?
No, the Brady.
The Brady. But what is the definition. The definition is like something that's just totally for marketing purposes. That's not based in.
Well, why don't you define gimmick?
Yeah, exactly. Wait, what's the definition of a gimmick?
The definition of a gimmick is a trick or device intended to attract attention, publicity, or business.
Love it. There you go.
Yeah, the Brady. Like, they're just trying to get our attention with something unique that isn't really a card, a sports card.
Yep. All right.
You know what's another one?
What?
The Jason Alexander National Treasures Yankee card that came out in 2021, I think. But like, it's like a Seinfeld card. That's a gimmick card. He didn't play for the Yankees. He's not an actual like Yankee executive or whatever.
Actually, he was.
His character was Jason Alexander. The actor who played the character was not. Nice try, though.
Thank you. All right, another good example there. Okay, moving on. Card EC Sports Card says, what is the tipping point for the junk parallel era?
If we haven't hit that tipping point already, I don't know that we will.
Yeah.
There's like 50 something in this year's Prism, right? Or I think it's like 70.
Yeah, it's something very, very high. Like, I'll tell you, the tipping point in Select for me was hit at some
Multiple
point. Yeah, like you don't need to go like Select first started out as having one tier and one of one.
Yep.
And then it became 3 tiers, but still only one of one. Now, I think the latest iteration of Select Football has 5 tiers and somewhere between 3 to 5 one of ones to each of the tiers.
Yeah, I was gonna say the tipping point won't be reached as long as we maintain the true 1 of 1, the true gold out of 10, and we like keep that consistent. But now that you're bringing that up, that's the tipping point, is when you actually break the norms of like, you can make 50 parallels, it's fine, but as long as I still have the ones that I really want to chase. But if you break those, now it's the tipping point.
Yep. Like I certainly stay away from any Select product that starts to have the multiple one of ones. Okay, I may have missed. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is collegiate.
So it'll be like field level black shimmer, like that kind of thing.
Yes. Hold on. I'm gonna get the exact information here so I don't misspeak on this. So 2022 Select. Here are all the different base sets that it has. All the different tiers: Concourse, Premier, Club, Suite level, Field level. 5 tiers. All right. Now within each of those tiers, you have the base Concourse has a black 1 of 1, a black disco 1 of 1, and a black die cut 1 of 1. So that's 3. The Premier level has a black 1 of 1, a black disco 1 of 1, and a black die cut 1 of 1. That's 3. Club level, same configuration. Suite level has 2 1 of 1s, a black 1 of 1 and a black disco 1 of 1, and field level has just 1 true black 1 of 1.
Yeah. So isn't field level traditionally the best one?
Yeah.
So it's 12 different 1 of 1s from Select.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you were really good at ignoring the noise, could you still say there's still the one true black field level 101? That's the best Select card.
Yeah.
Could you do that, or is it just too much?
It's nice to see that they only gave field level 1 of 1.
But could the club and suite confuse new people into like, well, the black, the standard black of the club level might be better than field. Like the person who pulls it's trying to hype it up, and they're trying to gas it up a bit, and like trying to convince everyone that's the better one now because it's a better place to sit now because of rich people, and I don't know.
Yeah, you could, but I think the field level is still numbered the highest in the set, which it always has been. So I would guess that the rarity of the field level base card is still rarer than the others, and then it only has one of 1, which is nice to see. But the overarching point here is that when Select, somewhere along the way it ballooned. So it hit the tipping point for me. I am beyond the two. I am not looking at players from later years of Select in large part because the parallel stuff hit the tipping point for me.
Yeah.
Became too many. So, to Cardi C's point,
what would Prism have to do for you to not want to get the McCaffrey for next year?
It got close. Like, so they've added, for the last 2 seasons, they've had 3 1-of-1s. Black Stars, Black Shimmer, and then the Black Finite, which the Black Finite is the one that has the lineage going back to 2012. And that's close to being really annoying.
Yeah.
That's really close. I think in basketball, they found a nice sweet spot when they would have the true Black 1-of-1. And then, okay, maybe you have a Nebula that's part of the choice configuration of the product. And then, then you have 2. Like, okay, fine. But then you get the Black Shimmer, and it just becomes at odds with the concept of what a 1-of-1 is supposed to be.
Yeah. Gold Shimmer and Gold Wave are the worst.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I mean, I avoid later Select releases because of this.
It's a lot. It's just like, even if I did consider doing the LeBron Gold Prism thing, it's just like having to look at the shimmers and the waves is just like, God. Like, you look at it and you squint a little bit and you're like, that's not the right one.
Right. Yep. All right. From Drake's PC. We can all agree that there's nothing like acquiring a card and having the mail day experience. When you only have a handful of cards on your want list for a player that you collect, what advice do you have for avoiding buying other cards of that player to fill the void until one of the handful of cards that you want becomes available? I'm struggling with this at the moment.
Yes, me too. Struggle with this a lot. I don't know. Maybe just like give in and buy it.
Right. Yeah. What's the worst that can happen here, huh?
Yeah.
You obligate your later self to the chore of selling the card.
I usually give the advice of like just sit on it for a couple days and it'll usually pass. Like if that's because it'll probably still be available in a couple days and you might not feel the same.
Yeah. Yep. Sometimes you just have to touch the hot stove to realize that you don't like it.
Or just like palm the entire hot stove. Just buy that Nebula. Just buy that Logo Man Auto. Just do it. That rando player.
All right. All right. Enjoy cards _IG. How much does player personality affect fandom and collector passion?
A lot. Just ask Dennis Rodman collectors. Why else would you spend 100 grand plus on a Dennis Rodman card? The guy averaged like 8 points a game. But
many rebounds.
He's like 270th all time in PER.
Is he over or under 15 on his career PER? Because that's league average.
He's under. Literally, he's like 14.79 career, I think. It's really low.
Okay. Yeah.
So a lot.
Good on defense. Very good on defense as well, they might say. Don't you remember in The Last Dance when the balls were angling off the rim? And
he's the most overrated player ever. I'm just gonna say it. He's
I knew that just pushed a little bit. Let's go.
You're just trying to like that whole thing over here, over there. He's like one of the dumbest I've ever seen in an interview, and we're supposed to believe that he's this mega genius because he can rebound.
Pretty sure he negotiated a nuclear peace treaty.
You know why he rebounded so well? You want to know why? Because everyone was afraid to touch the guy because he's so weird. And they're just like, all right, you can have that one, Dennis. This is your rebound. You're going to,
Maybe people didn't want to find out why they called him the worm.
Exactly. Or he's going to... Have you seen the video of him, like, hitting on guys in free throw, like standing on the free throw line. He's like saying weird stuff to him. No thanks, Dennis. You can have this one.
Let's see an advanced stat for that.
Exactly.
That's why you got to watch the games.
I love when they do the stats like, oh my God, he had 0 points and 30 rebounds. How impressive. I'm like, it's impressive that he didn't score when he had 30 rebounds. He didn't at one time get an offensive rebound and have a putback. How is that even possible? How bad is he? Nobody fouled him after a rebound. Like, he can't even score 1 point.
Fair. He's like a guy who only works out one arm. So like the one arm is huge and the other arm, it's a noodle.
Like the stats where it's like, oh, Tony Gwynn never struck out. That's actually like a good thing. But scoring no points is bad.
Right.
You want to score. Imagine if he played in today's game, if there was someone that can only rebound and do nothing else. He would be run off the court. He'd be left in the corner and people would just be leaving him wide open.
Fair.
I mean, it's not Draymond Green.
Oh, Draymond Green.
All right.
Do it.
The moral of this story is player personality has a large impact.
Do the Draymond Green. He's had a week. That guy sucks.
Brax Ball Card says, who wins in a grail off? The CL50 or the Golden 100? What's the point of what are you getting at, Brax?
Well, isn't the Golden 100 broken up into 250 card auctions?
Yes.
That's the fair fight.
Yes. And in either the CL50 does not have grails per speak. Yeah, it's like doesn't have 1-1s, and like it has iconic cards. Whereas the Golden 100 has $1 million, multi-$100,000 cards.
Right. I think we have a Tim Duncan base Chrome card in our CL50. I think.
Hey, that's somebody's grail. All right. Let's see here. I have a very long question from Prison Mike. But he's very passionate about this, so let's just do it.
If you do it, you have to wrap it.
I can't wrap this. It doesn't rhyme. All right, I'm just going to do it. Let's just bear down and get through this. Wisconsin has some of the largest monthly sports card shows in the country and prominent promoters and longtime hobby shop owners. Over the last month at large shows and shops that I frequent, I've tried to discuss rare 90s with owners and dealers in order to find some cards for my collection. Most, if not all, will admit they know very little about rare 90s inserts and parallels, and some admit to thinking it's ridiculous that serial numbering even exists. These are not upstart collectors and dealers. My question is this. Most of us that collect rare 90s or rare 2000s assume that most people understand that market and prices are inflated. But in an alternative perspective, based on these experiences I've had, could it be that this market is just in its infancy? Could these prices be low for low pop and serial numbered cards because the majority of collectors view them as rubbish compared to the 50s and 60s sets? I'd welcome a conversation. You guys are in more hobby communities than I am, but if you show anyone a 1954 Topps Hank Aaron, everybody will know the card. If you show them a Fleer Brilliance 24 karat, or an Essential Credentials, or a Rubies, they'll have no clue. I might be sheltered and way off, but I think there's something to this. The huge wake-up call I had today was talking to a hobby shop owner of 30-plus years who frequents radio stations locally to discuss the card market. He was admittedly confused and uninformed on the 90s market, even though he's a long-time dealer. What do you say to that?
I mean, those 90s cards are worth a lot of money.
They are. I remember being in a card shop in Long Beach about 4 or 5 years ago for a Beckett Raw Card review submission thing when they used to like go to local shops and do that pre-pandemic. and the shop owner was like mocking the Jordan PMG green sale. And he was just like, and it was him and a few others, and they were just like, yeah, like this is not a real sale, and why would anybody?
When it was like 300 grand.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
Like, this is not a real sale. Like, why would anybody want this card? Why would anybody pay that much for it? I would much rather put that money into a 52 mantle and etc.
Right.
So like, I know where Prison Mike PC is coming from on this because I've definitely heard that point of view as well.
But that sentiment has definitely changed over the last 5 years. Like the 90s, you know, people have come in and made their presence felt with, you know, spending big money and bringing you know, this new wave of collecting.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know that it means that 90s stuff is undervalued. I don't know that it means that, but I do agree that there are lots of people who don't know a ton about it and steer clear of it.
Yeah.
That stuff, and it's not just vintage though. Ultra modern, a lot of times those guys have no idea what they're. If you put a Hakeem Olajuwon 97 essential credentials, whatever that's numbered to, in front of an ultra modern collector, they will likely have no idea what they're looking at. They'll be like, whatever that card's numbered to. Let me just look that up really quick. 1997 Hakeem credentials. That is numbered to, one of them is numbered to 56, right? So the future Hakeem is numbered to, if you put that, the big number to 56, you know, that's not even as rare as a Prism Orange out of 49.
Yeah.
They'll have no idea what it is or why it's valuable.
Well, if you're comparing that stuff to the vintage market, a lot of those like 90s basketball cards and football cards are like so unbelievably rare in comparison that it doesn't take as many people to compete in those markets to get the prices high up because there's less of them to go around. There's less that is necessary to be invested into it because the market cap overall is so much lower. You know, there's just less of it overall. And by that, you're just going to have less people that are aware of it as well.
Sure. Yep. All right. Thank you for that comment though from Prison Mike. It's just, that's like on the ground, somebody feeling something, and
Yep.
it's real. Okay. This was just a funny exchange that we'll give some airtime to as we approach the end of the show. Black Hat Cards said, other than the Frank Thomas no name, is there an error card that holds any value? I constantly see error cards listed at exorbitant prices. A card letter search even showed a 1990 Jose Uribe error for $50K in 2022. I'm assuming that never happened. I'm not super familiar with that card. I did do a little bit of looking into it, and that sale definitely seems way off. Vinny Slaverino replied, I don't care for error cards, but the Billy Ripken fuckface card seems to have some staying power, as well as the Barry Bonds 87 Donruss opening day. The picture is actually Johnny Ray. And Black Hat Cards agrees. And he said he finishes off by saying, they seem to be the rage in the 80s and the 90s, but now I see sellers use deceitful practices on crazy bins.
That's usually like one of the questions I get from newer people, like, hey, is my error card that I found in my basement worth a ton of money? And it's like, no, it's not, because all of them are printed that way and nobody cares.
Yeah. So like there's that category of card, which is like, it's an error, but they all have the error, or many copies have the error. The appeal of the error card was that in a world before one-of-one parallels and rare parallels existed,
Yep.
This was a way of having rarity.
Yep.
Albeit unintentional rarity, most
parallel.
Yeah.
It's kind of more of a parallel. It's like it's like the gold prism parallel for that type of error.
Exactly. And like just like how condition was a big example of a way to stratify and create a hierarchy of most desirable copies. like and Brendan Ryan points out that it's also an example of a gimmick. The error card is, it definitely can be a gimmick.
Yeah.
All right, nice little interchange there. All right, what else do we want to get to here? Oh, Cards and Candy 911 came back.
We'll saw this. I'm not responding.
Let's get the reaction. Come on, let's get reaction to this. All right, Cards and Candy 911 says, "Why doesn't LeBron go to any events involving Kobe, such as his funeral and the statue unveiling? Wasn't he there at the statue? Didn't he play in the game that night for the Lakers? I don't know.
He plays for the team where they did the unveiling. He was getting ready for the game.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know, man. Maybe we all just need to worship at the feet of the Kobe statue. Make our pilgrimage.
I saw a post. It was like, here are the 20 options for them to choose for the statue, and the one they actually picked was none of those 20.
Well, according to Kobe's widow, he's the one who chose that particular statue pose prior to his death. This was not like this statue. Supposedly, this statue was not for his death, but had been planned years ago with the owners to put a statue of him as like a tribute in front of Staples/Crypto.
Well, let's start picking out the statues we wanted, the three of us.
Where are we gonna put?
Well, we gotta start thinking about that now. I want to know what my statue's gonna be, and I want to have a say.
Do we want them like in Rosemont in front of the convention center?
Yeah. It's just like the three of us. Like,
we can do the like three monkeys, like hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. But we'll do the opposite. We'll do like binocular eyes, cupping the ears, and shouting around the mouth, like because that's.
All right.
Now.
Oh, what else do we want to do here? 90s b-ball cards. Jake would like to know, have you been following John's journey with the LeBron/Bronny 1/1 auto?
No. Have you? I saw it was great at PSA 10.
Yeah, no, I don't have much of an interest in that card. So I'm not following it. Yeah.
There is a epidemic of people sending super duper high-end chase cards to PSA that are autographed and not getting the fucking autograph graded. God damn it. It's driving me fucking insane. PSA should get that card and be like, you have to get this auto graded. This card's too important and expensive for us not to get the branding necessary to put a freaking 10 auto on this thing. Oh my god. God, what a miss.
Yeah.
2 times now, the Brady and that one. No auto grade.
Yep. I hear you. I hear you, man.
Do you think it's like ignorance? Like people don't know how to fill out the grade sheet, and that's why, like.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Yes.
I think it is. I think it's a fact. Yeah, I had an experience when I was doing group submissions 6-ish years ago now. And, like, I gave the group submitter, like, some autograph cards to put autograph grade on it. And he was like, why are you doing that? He's like, you don't want to do that. That's just going to make it take longer. Which is true.
Like that. It's just like that. It's something like that. Like, oh, just get it graded quicker.
But, like, if you're doing a walkthrough service level, I would think that it's not taking that much longer. You're still going to get it, I don't know.
But if I...
Yeah.
If I was at PSA, I'd be like, hey, this came through. They didn't put the auto grade on. Let's reach back out. Let's offer it to them for free on this one. Since it's such a big card and they chose to get a grade with PSA, we offer to do the grade on the auto for free.
Okay, look, Mark and Preston and Card Sniper are all saying, like, Card Sniper goes, PSA told him it was not a 10 auto, so he requested no auto grade.
Fine, to increase the value.
Yeah, but see, the fact that like people know that means that it should be disclosed, so it should be on the flip anyway. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Beckett
like,
started doing this too. Beckett started doing this same thing.
Yeah.
But Beckett puts it in their system. So if you actually go look it up in the pop report, it'll tell you that it's a 9 auto, but it doesn't show on the
Yep.
flip. Yeah, it impacts the fees to PSA, but my point is like these two cards are such big, massive cards that PSA should just be like, just us grading this card is valuable to our business and our brand. We should just grade the auto.
Yep. Cage says, who wants that card? Seriously, is that card really a 6-figure card? Bronny is G League, and Braun is not in an NBA uniform, and they will do many more of these, I'm sure.
Dude,
Yeah.
that Brady Superfractor auto, what did it sell for?
6 figures, if I remember right.
Yeah, and it got its own auction, and everyone is all excited. The non-auto Superfractor is currently sitting at auction for like $2,000. So I think the gimmick is up, you guys.
That Brady went for $159,000.
The non-auto is at like $2,500. Nobody cares.
Oh boy. All right. What else? Is there anything we can handle here quickly? All right. This came from Spirit of Cardboard. Maybe we'll end on this question. Spirit of Cardboard says, could you do a 10,000-foot overview of the hobby over the last 5 to 7 years, as if you were explaining it to a classroom of non-collectors? This is not really a question, but I would love your insights. Call it a micro documentary.
The sports card hobby or the recipe hobby?
I don't know. You didn't clarify.
Yeah, I'm not sure which hobby. Let me think about it. Do you have something?
Well, I don't know. I have heard of the 30,000 foot view.
The airplane, but this is like a small airplane.
Yeah.
Like it's the airplanes that you jump out of.
The Cessna view.
What's the one you jump out of because it's going so badly?
This is the PJ view,
Yeah,
if you will. Remember when we looked up the cost of a PJ that one's on?
I feel like it's not that much.
This is such a hard question. Like it would have been easier to do this a few years ago, but like the further and further you go into the daily weeds of the hobby, the harder it is to zoom out and like tell somebody what it looks like from 10,000 feet.
But if you're doing 5 to 7, I think most people start the answer with like the pandemic and like the booming prices and then the subsequent, correction. I actually started with a little bit before that, and I say, we were already sort of like headed into this rise up in sports cards with like the return of 90s kids and nostalgia and like the increased interest in the rookie classes of 2017, 2018. So I usually start the story there of like a 2-year build up before the pandemic. So that's really all I have.
Good. Yeah, it's good. I would go with that for sure, and I would tell some story about how like how collecting is just like such a nice reprieve. It's such a nice change of pace from adult life, and it's something that like you can share with your kids if you have kids, or something that makes you feel like a kid again. And it's emotional, it's simple, it's fun. It's also very complicated, but like the basic thing of it is just like gathering, collecting these things, and like admiring them for what they symbolize and how nice they look. That's part of the story for me.
Yeah, I'd probably add something about Instagram and how we've all sort of gathered up in this one space together as a community and decided this is where we're going to talk about it.
Definitely. All right, let's call it there. Didn't get to a handful of questions, but that's all right.
Like 38.
No, not that many. Like 4.
Okay.
There's just 4 that we didn't get to. Yeah, we flew through a lot tonight. All right, now we pick the title. So here are the title options. We have Shift to the NBA. We have Panini is the Joe Biden of the hobby.
I'm just assuming he's not going to win, but what do I know about politics?
Yeah. Maybe Panini wins their lawsuit. I don't know. That one really makes me laugh, but I just get scared of like people filling the comments with like Joe Biden and stuff.
Yeah, like thinking that we're picking sides or something too.
Yeah. There's the rub.
I think you said rub one out at one point.
Yeah, I did, but I did not write that down.
Oh, dang it.
Dog on the last rib bone.
That was Christina. The dogs on the last rib bone. That's a new one. I've never heard that one.
Oh, what does that even mean? Can you Google that and see if that exists?
I don't think that's a real
Google this. Dogs on the last rib bone.
I think she means like the last piece of meat on the final rib bone.
I was trying. My mind went to cussing, and I was trying to circumvent that, and I was trying to say like people fighting over the last one thing that they
want. Wait, is no cussing on the Lent schedule here?
Yeah. So you have to give up something or multiple things, and it's like, repent and like realize that you sin, and it represents Jesus being this is getting real religious. It's getting Jesus being in the desert for 40 days when the devil tempts him. So it's about like prior to Easter, 40 days of repenting and realizing how you could be better as a human. So you give up something that's difficult or makes you better.
Yeah, I know what Lent is. I was just asking what you chose.
What are you asking then?
Why did you choose cursing to give up?
Because I cuss a lot, and it's like not a holy thing.
She wanted a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, she wanted something tough. That's good. That's the point of it. You gotta pick something that's like uncomfortable.
Exactly.
All right, next up we have It Means Mayonnaise.
The aioli thing.
Testy this week. Gary V hiding in plain sight.
I don't want that clickbait on my hands.
No. If I say it, you should discard it.
Oh, I like that one.
Just a good disclaimer for all episodes.
It's like the one rule that anyone can follow. If I say it, just get rid of it.
And then the last one is Palm the Hot Stove.
I have my two faves.
All right, let's hear them.
The dog bone and the stove.
Yeah. The dog bone one is so weird. Like, it's great for us. I go with Palm the Hot Stove. It pays off. If you listen to the episode, you get to that point.
Yeah.
And, like, you can see the metaphorical connection to cards.
Can you do
coming from
a hand emoji with like a fire emoji or something?
Yeah, there we go.
I just like the dog bone one because it's
ridiculous. Good. Yep. That's the subtitle. The subtitle.
Looking at it.
Yeah.
Without looking at your paper, just looking forward. What was the dog bone one again?
Dogs on the last rib bone.
Like if you asked me to say it 10 times, I would say it 10 different ways. Dogs ribbing that bone. Dogs in the rib bone.
Do it for this week. May or may not see you guys next week.
We're reaching the CY Card Ladder is the most respected sports card analytics app on the market. We have virtually every card in our system. If the card you are looking for ever sold on one of these platforms, you can find it using Card Ladder's sales history. Easily find recent comps and get a better estimate what your cards are worth. CY Card Ladder is the most trusted and the most reliable sports card analytics app on the market. We know what you want because Card Ladder was created by collectors for collectors. Join the innovators, not the imitators. Card Ladder, constantly innovating. Try it for free. CY Card Ladder is the industry leader in sports card data. Card Ladder. We're just getting started.